Chris Cuomo here. Welcome to the Chris Cuomo Project. We got to process. We got to hear what people are feeling and thinking about the state of play with this election and our politics. And the best way to do it is not for you to wait for people to figure out where your head is. Just tell me and let's get after it. So you got comments, you got questions. So do I. So that's what we're going to do here in the Chris Cuomo Project. That means I need to enlist and entrust the redoubtable skills of the one and only Gregory Ott, not real name, odd choice of stage name.
That is completely my real name. Why would I pick a weird last name?
A quick search will show there is no Greg Ott.
I have searched online for where the name Ott comes from. I actually have no idea. I have some ancestors in Sweden who I've met. They're very nice. But I assume it's abridged, like it got chopped off when somebody came over here on the boat. I have no idea what it was.
Are any of the relatives named Sven?
No, but Raymar runs a textile factory in Kungälv, Kungalv.
Really?
My wife and I went there 2 years ago. And we did the thing where it's like I had this old ancestor I had never met. And I'm like, I would actually go and meet him. My dad has some of these crazy stories. And there he was. He'd walk me around. I had some fish. It was really fun. If you have any distant relatives, I highly recommend meeting them.
He had some fish.
Yeah.
As if that were an authenticator of a Swedish experience.
They have a lot of seafood out there. I one of those little shrimp salads, not one of those bad shrimp salads. I mean like a fresh, those little micro baby shrimp that's like in that like.
You ate babies?
No, I ate a baby shrimp.
Oh, I got you.
You heard the whole thing. You're just trying to make a joke. Okay, I'm glad we're starting this off in like.
Mirthy. We're mirthy.
We got a bit of the mirth here because on the reaction to the election, depending on who you support, can fall in any direction. But on your channel, something I wanted to address, like right up the top, is before the votes were cast, you had been pretty clear-eyed, at least in my opinion, over the potential for Trump to win for months. I mean,
his race to lose.
That is what you've been saying for months. And this isn't like gloating and trying to tell everybody you were right. It's more that you have been saying this for a very long time and laying out why the fundamentals of how you saw the election.
Wasn't necessarily happy about it, but it was obvious.
Right. And so many comments over the past few months have trended towards, how dare you, Cuomo? You're a Trumper, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
This isn't the Lichtman episode. This is the episode that went out right before the election on the closing messages of both campaigns. And I wanted to just put this out there to set the table for how people are feeling about this. Antonio 3026 said, in my opinion, Mr. Cuomo, you spend too much time trying to refine a ridiculous balancing act, especially when you know and have said Trump should never be president again. Your hypocrisy is embarrassing. Shab Bentley 88 said, Chris, when people show you who they are, believe them. Belinda Peral 1061 said, I'm very disappointed in Cuomo today. If you stand for nothing, you fall for anything. You have a platform to talk out of both sides of your mouth.
First of all, I saw Hamilton too. And my general response to all of these is, you guys have to recalibrate your think to feel ratio, okay? Because, and look, the immediacy of social media, the ease of putting out a comment, the studies that have been done, the research is dispositive on this. It's not an open question. Most comments are negative because that's what motivates. That's the same with voting. You are mistaking my analysis of what is for what you think I should want to be. You are confusing my analysis of what is with what you believe I should want to be. Do you appreciate the distinction? Because that is the key. I am not a Trump supporter. I am not a Trump voter. I believe he disqualified himself many times over, but it is not my place to decide what you think and feel. And we have a process. And what the election about had become clear. And it doesn't matter if I like it. It matters if you like it because you're going to decide who to vote for. And so will I as a citizen. But as a journalist, right? As an analyst, it is what it is. That's why that hackneyed phrase, that cliche phrase is so powerful. It is what it is. Trump was relevant. You don't want him to be. I understand and appreciate that. But he is, and he was. Yeah, but he's terrible, and he told us that. And you're equating him with Kamala Harris. One, we now know he whooped her ass. And the reason is because of attitudes like yours. Now, I know that people don't blame because we want followers. I want to give you succor, S-U-C-C-O-R. I want you to believe and give you confirmation bias and let you feel understood. Fuck that. I'm going to tell you how it is, and you do with it what you want, okay? I didn't get this by accident. I didn't get these because I've had it easy, okay? I have lived this. I understand this. People are not surprised that Trump won. The margins? Yes, because we thought that Harris had people motivated by scaring them about Trump. Not that the fears are irrational, but what was the reality? She lost because she underperformed. That's because she's a black woman and this is a racist, sexist country. Maybe, but I don't believe it's just that, okay? I don't even think it's a close call. Why? Then explain why blacks and women's didn't vote for her the same way. Are they racist too? Are Latino men anti-brown? Are women anti-women? Well, yes, some are. Bet you're white. Bet you're white. Or I bet you're really far left if you're saying that. And you better think about it because the people you're talking about don't agree with you. You are a minority. Now, are you as wackadoo as your cousins on the right? Fringe? Not in my opinion, but it doesn't matter. So now let's start pulling it in. People show you who they are. Believe them. Sure, I never equated Trump and Harris. Not as people, not as candidates. But they are or were equal as propositions to the electorate because they were the two nominees. You say, oh, but you shouldn't even discuss Trump that way. Wake the fuck up. He was the Republican nominee, and your whole campaign was he sucks. Will you learn the lesson that you have to be for something, not just against something as a Democrat, unless you want to ride the wave of grievance? And you can, and you did in 2020, and that's how you won with Joe Biden, who was a very, very incomplete candidate. The man had lost laughably every other time he ran. Chased out once. Why do you think you won? Grievance. But now you had to own the status quo. So grievance would not be enough. My problem with this conversation teed up by the man with the fake name is this does not get you where you want to be. You need to understand why this happened. Yes, yes. So what? That's that question. So what? What happened here? Now you fucking know. Now what? What are you going to do about it? How will you change? How will you adapt? And the answer from too many of you is, it's not me who's got to change. It's these people who voted. America failed itself. We all lost. You're setting yourself up to lose again. Well, I won't capitulate. I won't capitulate to the racists and the bigots and the sexists. They're your own people that you lost. The Democrats, look, you can tell me that I don't like Democrats, I don't understand Democrats. You're revealing your own ignorance, okay? Google my name. Okay? Not only do I know more about the Democratic Party being 54 years old and growing up in it with its biggest names most of you don't even know. Okay? I grew up knowing Nancy Pelosi. You lionize her for what she did the last 10 years in her 70s and 80s. I've known her my whole life. Okay? I know Hakeem Jeffries personally, okay? I know Chuck Schumer personally. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You don't think I'm a fair broker. I lived it. One of your giants, one of the names that was brought up from the past at the convention is my fucking father, okay? A Tale of Two Cities was the high point of Democratic argument in the modern era against Reagan and trickle-down economics. It was my father. You know who one of his writing staff was on that speech? Tim Russert, the legend of journalism. Don't tell me that I don't know, that I'm not in touch with, that I don't understand. How dare you even think that? I was born in it. Reminds me of that Batman movie where the guy is Kane or whatever. You've merely adopted the dark.
Bane?
I was born in it. Yeah, Bane.
Yeah.
When he says that to Batman, because Batman gets thrown in that Russian prison or whatever, and he's got to fight his way out. And then he's like, thinks he's reborn. And Bane had grown up in there as a kid and found a way to escape.
I only like the ones where the Joker sings. And
One of my favorite actors is Tom Hardy. He's a phenomenal guy and a good ground fighter, by the way. Wins tournaments. Look it up. He says in there, Batman, you have adopted the dark. I was born in it. I was born in it, okay? I was raised at the knee of some of the greatest names in your party that you don't even really know. I've had private conversations with Barack Obama and Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton and Daniel Patrick Moynihan and President Jimmy Carter. Don't tell me that I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm telling you, you have lost your way of what Democrats were for. And you don't have to believe me. Believe your spirit animal, Bernie Sanders. He just said the same thing. And I'm going to do a whole piece about what Democrats could be that would be amazingly robust in America today. But the answer to the question is, I haven't lost my way. I haven't been red-pilled. Fuck you for saying that. None of you have done for the Democratic Party what my family has. I haven't even mentioned my brother. That alone would be a legacy that few families, but he got chased out. Yeah, by a party who had standards that don't make any sense to me. But I'm not anti-democratic. What are you talking about? My whole family's Democrats. So I know who Donald Trump is. I didn't even mention Trump. I know Trump in a way that none of you Trumpers know him. I have had conversations with that man and experiences with that man that none of you know about or can ever match. But you know him and I don't. I don't get it and you do. You're kidding yourselves. So I didn't equate them. They were equatable because they were in a race. And you guys fell into the trap, in my opinion, of battling which was worse. And in your mind, Trump is so despisable that she had to win. And I kept telling you, in a grievance election, the incumbent is at risk and vulnerable. And in a battle of which is worse, you're playing to animus, and that is not your strength, it is his. People vote for Trump for what they are against. Make America great again is inherently reductive as a proposition. It means we are not great. How can you be great again if you are great already? So you are fighting on his territory, and you lost. And you lost because you underperformed, which is proof of my premise. Yes, he built a little bit, but not really. 80% of his vote was still white. By the way, I don't have any problem with that. You do. That's your problem, especially when a lot of you are white yourselves. But he didn't really grow. But to the extent that he did grow, these are the same people that you're saying he's against. Latinos, blacks, women. Why? Because you were in a battle of grievance and you lost it. It's not about me not understanding what Trump is and the movement behind him. It's you not understanding it, you not liking it, and allowing that to dominate your process instead of how to beat it.
Well, I just want to put this to bed before we move on to the reaction to the election itself. In that same episode, Ang Sinha wrote, Cuomo told PBD Live that he voted for Trump. Unsubscribe. Can you confirm to the audience whether or not you voted for Mr. Trump?
I should sue you.
Oh.
I should find you and I should sue you. Why? I'm a public person, so the standard's very high. It's reckless disregard of truth. If you want to know what that means, Google Times v. Sullivan. That's where the standard came from. So I have to have a very high bar to sue you for defamation. But I think I can meet it because not only did I not say that on PBD, and no way I voted for Trump. No way. Okay? That doesn't mean I won't be fair to him, more fair than most. Why? That's my job. Because it doesn't matter how the fuck I feel about Donald Trump. It's the people who vote for him that must command my attention and fairness. You want to dismiss them all as racists. So you're calling my in-laws racists? You're calling the families that I love, that are my friends, they're all racist when a lot of them are brown? Come on. Look, I didn't vote for Trump. That's not the point. The point is, on PBD, I said, I'm not going to tell people not to vote for Trump. You should be open to the choices. You find that to be unacceptable. That's your problem, not mine. All right? And yeah, by the way, let's see, that's my mother-in-law calling me right now. You see? Now she's mad at me. You happy? So did Patrick's guys play with that a little bit? Yeah. Did they make it a little bit more enticing? Yeah, that's media. Okay? They twisted a little bit? Yeah, a little bit, but they're not the problem. You're the problem because you wanted it to be that way. And it's just not true, okay? As I said on my show on News Nation the other night, if he has an enemies list, I may be high on it. He may come after me if that's true. I just don't believe it's true. I think it's nonsense. I think it's paranoid, schizophrenic level nonsense. And you can say, oh, you're wrong. Yeah, but what's the difference between you and me? Who would be on the list? I'd be on the list. So if I don't think it's going to happen, if it doesn't color my consideration, why should it color yours? Support for the Chris Cuomo Project comes from Select Quote. The older you get, the more you know that you have to provide for what you don't control. Life insurance, when you're young, doesn't make sense. Life insurance, once you have a family, once you're an adult, once you own things, once you need to protect things, doesn't make sense if you don't have it. That's where Select Quote comes in. Select Quote is one of America's leading insurance brokers. They got 40 years of experience, helping 2 million customers find over $700 billion in coverage since 1985. Now, other life insurance brokers, they do it more kind of one size fits all. May cost more, may cover less. That's where Select Quote does better. They have licensed insurance agents working for you to tailor a policy that meets your needs. Get the right life insurance for you for less at selectquote.com/ChrisC. All you have to do is go to selectquote.com/ChrisC today, and you'll get started. selectquote.com/ChrisC. Support for the Chris Cuomo Project comes from AG1. So, holidays, you know what happens. You fall off the grind. You fall off the routine. That's why AG1 has been with me for so many years. Why? Because it's simple. You're one and done. It's just a scoop in some water, for me, warm water, but you can put it in anything you want. And just like that, you've absorbed all the nutrition that you need to keep you on track. And AG1 is running a special Black Friday offer for all of November. So this holiday season, try AG1 and think about giving it to somebody else. The holidays are a great time to get yourself into better shape, to focus on yourself, your family, and doing what you can to do your best. And AG1 is part of that, certainly for me, and that's why they've been a partner for so long. And like I said, every week of November, AG1 will be running a special Black Friday offer for a free gift with your first subscription, in addition to the welcome kit with Vitamin D3+K2. So check it out. drinkag1.com/CCP for the Chris Cuomo Project. See what gift you can get this week. That's drinkag1.com/CCP.
Why don't we get into the reaction to the video that you put out on Thursday? This is this is your pretty, raw take on how the election unfolded. And the audience has lots of varying takes on this. We'll start with Dolores Osborne, 2818. She says, the reality is many people are just about themselves. Having cheaper gas and eggs is more important than our national security, climate change, decency, integrity, equality, and respect. I think she meant respect. And that was liked by 185 people.
That's what I said.
Well, that's also what Dolores Osborne said.
I know, but what did she say that I didn't say?
I think it's parroting a lot of what you said.
Yeah.
But I think the point, it seems to me the point they are making is people were more selfish in this and weren't thinking of the broader, the nation as a whole. But she is proving the point that you were making, which is like, yeah, because people are more focused on their own personal financial situation or personal economics.
It's always that way. The genius behind Carville's obvious observation that it's the economy, stupid, he really shouldn't have said the word economy. Now, I'm not criticizing him. He's a legend, and I love him, by the way. But again, to my point, you know of James Carville. I know him. Okay, I talked on the phone to the guy. You see what I'm saying? The idea that I'm out of touch, I don't understand Democrats is so stupid. Anyway, he shouldn't have used the word economy. He should have used pocket, wallet, you know what I mean? Something that was more personal.
Coin purse.
Because the truth is, it's not the economy. Because if it was the economy, we'd be talking about the consumer price index. We'd be talking about the rates of growth or attrition in different indexes and matrices that matter in economic analysis, micro and macro. We don't. We talk about you, right? It's eggs. Now, here's where the Democrats fucked up, in my opinion, okay? They had a story to tell about the rate of recovery that they never told. You look at America, look, is stuff too high? Yeah, no question. Where I live, in Suffolk County, Long Island, which Trump won, by the way, but out on that county, my gas is still often over $5. I get it. And I have a boat, which the gas is much higher. But it's real, okay? Gas, groceries, rent. They made two mistakes. One, they had a recovery story to tell, rate of recovery that they didn't tell. Second is the why. Now, this is hard, okay? The easier job is to say it's too damn high, right? Okay. But that wasn't their position because they were the incumbent. So they had to make the case, and they failed to make the case. And what is the case? Eggs are high because there was an outbreak of avian flu, and there was an inverted curve of supply and demand. Gas is high because it's a world market. And there is stress in the world market because economies are not recovering the way we are. We can't drill our way out of gas prices. That's a lie. And you're going to live that lie. Beef. Cattle supply is at a record low. Why? You don't want to hear it, but the growers will say the environment. That's what they'll say, is that they've been dealing with more disease and more drought and more blah, 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 blah. All this shit that you want to believe doesn't exist. It's all interrelated. You understand?
Even cocoa, I remember around Easter, there was like, chocolate prices are through the roof, but there's all this like, all the cocoa plants are getting sick in like West Africa. And it's like, that is the reason a lot of this stuff is shooting through the roof.
But look, anyone who's a parent, as you will learn, my brother, just because you're right doesn't mean you win, right? I want to go out with my friends tonight.
Well, she could have some chocolate.
You'll see. Yeah, until your wife gets into like sugar and all of a sudden she can't have chocolate. But you will see that you enter situations with people, and it's not different with voter analysis. Yeah, but I want more money in my pocket. I know, but here's the reasons that you don't. You don't win. I don't get your vote because I explain to you why you're unhappy. I get your vote because I tell you I will make you happy, or I will feed the animus you have towards your unhappiness and the source of it, which I will provide you. I'll tell you who to blame. Ain't going to be me. So the Democrats didn't do what they needed to do, which is why they underperformed, because they weren't showing their people and expanding a base of people who could bank on what they were for. So they lost. Trump was running the anti-status quo grievance because he doesn't own it the way he did in 2020 when it beat him because he fucked up the pandemic. You see? There is logic. There is rationale here. You need to grab on it. You got to use this and not just this and not just these.
You're pointing at your head, your heart, and your crotch.
Yes.
For the audio.
Yes, because it's not just balls and the figurative equivalent for women, which is what? It's a gut thing. It's a gut thing. I just feel it. It's not just that. It's not just, oh, but it's pulling on my heartstrings. I feel so sympathetic for this group of this cause. It's your head. It's what makes sense. And then you see, oh my God, this man, these people, they're playing me. They're playing me. There is no brown menace. The crime problem in America isn't because illegal immigrants are running around raping our daughters. Does it happen? Yes. Well, one is too many. If one is too many, there are like a dozen social ills that we should be fighting right now before illegal immigration. And by the way, I believe in the need for fundamental change on the border and that Biden fucked it up on purpose. You see what I'm saying? You're not getting me. You're judging what you want to see to feed what you want to believe. And that is on you. And that is why our salvation as a polity, as a commonwealth, is critical thinking independence. The reason I have optimism is not because of you. It's because the fastest growing part of the electorate is critical thinking independence. By the way, guess who won them? Trump. Well, how? If they're critical thinking independence, two reasons. One, half of people who say they're independent aren't really independent. They break right. Second is, to a critical thinker, crazy-ass Trump was closer to the reality than Harris was. Harris was, it doesn't matter that the eggs and the gas and the groceries and the rent and the mortgage is all upside down. He's an asshole. And to Dolores's point, I don't care that he's an asshole. I care about the eggs and the rent and the money in the bank more than that he's an asshole. And by the way, I think you're all assholes, and at least he's more obvious about it. That's it. The line is, and I'm going to use this when I talk about what the Democrats need to retrain, not woke, broke. Not woke, broke. Why? Because they're not voting on this. And why? Because this is more powerful to the people that you want to protect. With wokeism, I am not anti-wokeism. And yes, I know what it is. And by the way, I know who you took it from and what it used to mean and how you have perverted it for political purposes. And none of that is relevant. Of course, we have to protect minorities, and we cannot let cultures of ignorance and of intolerance and of prejudice affect their rights and freedoms. But you also cannot put what is right for some and make it a must for the many. That's where you went too far. Democrats can reclaim their place with the majority in this country, and I will build it out for you in another episode, by training their focus not on woke, but what makes you broke. And there are a lot more of these people who, by the way, often encompass the people you want to help here. But this is where they're focused, not here. That's why you lost.
Let's switch gears and talk about what people are planning on doing now that Mr. Trump will be the next president. Marcus Melancon, 3426 wrote, I'm just putting my hands up. I'm sitting the next 4 years out. People will get exactly what they voted for. 493 people as of press time like that comment.
The people have spoken. Elections have consequences, okay? People get the leadership that they deserve through what they ask for. All of these sayings exist because that's our collective experience. And you're right. And now, just like in 2016, you'll see the reality. Now, the Democrats skewed the analysis, right? Because they went into hyper-investigation, prosecution, persecution mode. So Trump's tenure, not unlike Clinton's tenure, became all about scandal, right? For him, it was Monica Lewinsky. But unlike Trump, that Bill Clinton, once he was able to not get killed by the political controversy with Monica Lewinsky, he cut some big-ass deals. He did welfare reform. He helped fuel the dot-com bubble. I mean, he did big things, but that guy was not Trump. That guy had more horsepower in his left big toe than Trump has in his whole body. So, you know, he was unique in a different way. Trump is unique in an aberrant way. Clinton was just an amazing compartmentalizer and multitasker. And a really good president, much better than Donald Trump. But you're going to get what you asked for. And elections have consequences, and it will reverberate. And I would be shocked if Republicans win in the next presidential cycle. I know that's way too far out to really discuss, but why? Because they're going to have to own Trump and his legacy. And there's a much bigger part of this country that wants leadership that is for things and that plays to what connects us than what divides us. And they're playing a losing game, in my opinion. And the future of this country is in us doing more together, not becoming sectarian. So that's my analysis.
To that end, Mo_Better101 wrote, I'm lost on he has to unify. No, he doesn't have to do anything of the sort. The chips are on his side. He can choose to continue the division, and he's very comfortable doing so. Call me negative, but I don't think, quote, unifying, unquote, will be a priority.
That's because you don't understand leadership and governance versus antagonism and campaigning. The reason the expression you campaign in poetry, you govern in prose you're like, what? Who said that? You're right. You're not a student of the game. Okay. You're about how you feel and negativity as a proxy for insight. That's you. Okay. You don't know me. I don't want to know you. I'm telling you how you present, as a doctor would say. This is how you present. That's not who I am. I don't give a shit who you are. That's how you present. And that's how you came to me. Okay. And the reason that Donald Trump doesn't stay with what got him here is because it won't get him where he wants to be, which is what? Greatness. Donald Trump understands that he is not considered great in the pages of history. He is not. He is an asterisk. He is scandal. He is diminishment of norms. That's what he is. And that is not what he wants to be. How do I know I'm right and not you? Well, one, I know him and you don't. Two, his major initiative in the first administration that affected him personally, which wound up getting scuttled because he was getting attacked, was DJT 100. Donald John Trump 100, 100% popularity. That was one of his original goals, to please everybody. So I know that that's part of the mix. And that's why he is best served by no longer being the spirit animal of the outraged and the right fringe, but somebody who wants to expand and grow. Because if he does that, he doesn't need them anymore. He's not going to get elected anyway. He's got enough fans. You'll see.
What would you say to HMQ 9052 who wrote, hi, I'm Chris Cuomo. Let's normalize fascism and see what happens.
Yeah, we did see what happens. You got your ass handed to you. Every demographic all across the country. Now what? Well, it's because they're all racist. Only white people say that. Isn't that weird? One, you're saying it about yourself. Okay? I got to tell you, I'm blessed with a lot of diversity in my life. Very rarely do minorities talk to me about systemic inequality. Not that it doesn't exist, but they have to deal with it. Not just complain about it. They have to live it, not just use it as an issue. So they too underperformed for you. Why? Because they know what you say they should be against. They need to know and believe that you will help them with what you are for. And you didn't. They know who Trump is. They have been forced to have to vote for a lot of people that they must be understandably suspicious of because they are not in power. They vote for people who may not meet them on the level of tolerance and social justice. I mean, minorities have been voting for Democrats for a long time without really reaping the rewards. It's been a which is worse analysis for them for a long time. Still is. Well, then how did they not pick the brown woman? Because for them, it's about the realities of their life, not the labels and the things that you can trade on as a function of your privilege.
Actually, to that end as well, Michael Davis 6462 wrote, in response to, I believe, on the last episode, you talked about how you defined what woke is or how Republicans might see a definition of woke. Michael says, Chris, being woke originally meant being aware of the true history of the USA, nothing more, nothing less, which 31 people liked.
No. Go back into the 60s and see when it came into common parlance and in which communities. And it was not as generic as that. It was not as benign or innocuous as that. It was wake up and see what's being done to us. Okay? Now, I don't have a problem with derivation. The history is what it is. Okay? And I don't have a problem with it now. I just have to analyze as a function of how it's being used, how it's perceived. And people like you who say, oh, they don't get what it is. That's all it is. But it's not what they feel it is. And if you tell people they're wrong about how they feel, you lose. Oh, but they're stupid. But there is a stupidity in your stubbornness to think that you don't have to meet people where they are and give them food for thought that helps them change their feelings. Barack Obama didn't get people to vote for him by saying, vote for me, I'm black. He had ideas and messaging that made them feel he had a chance to understand that reality and act upon it in ways that would make it better for them and for all. See the difference? They don't know what woke is. It keeps beating you. Think about it. You must have something wrong. Yes, America's racist. Then why did the brown people leave you? Support for the Chris Cuomo Project comes from Cozy Earth. Let me tell you something. When it comes to what to wear when you go to bed and what to be in when you go to bed, 2 words, Cozy Earth. Why? I love how it feels. It helps me stay warm when it's cold. It helps me stay cool when it's warm. How? I have no damn idea. But I'm telling you, it works. And the more I wash them, and I'm an Italian-American from Queens, we wash stuff all the time, these things don't break down, and they've actually gotten a little softer, believe it or not. They started off soft. They make a sheet set out of bamboo that is so much more sustainable. So if you care about the environment and cutting down on what goes into our textiles, Cozy Earth is a no-brainer. So wrap the ones you love in luxury with Cozy Earth. If you visit CozyEarth.com/Chris, you use my exclusive 40% off code, Chris, and you're going to give the gift of luxury this holiday season. CozyEarth.com/Chris. If you get a post-purchase survey, please tell them where you heard about it. The Chris Cuomo Project. Support for the Chris Cuomo Project comes from Factor. Notice how the days are shorter, but the to-do lists keep getting longer. What are you supposed to do? Factor's no prep, no mess meals. Man, I gotta tell you, as we have gotten into the macro game and people are worried about the quality of their nutrition, you gotta start looking at Factor. Breakfast to dinner, anything in between, Factor has easy, nutritious options to keep you fueled and feeling your best. You want your routine, or you want to mix it up, it doesn't matter. Factor has you covered. They got 35 different delicious meals every week and over 60 additional convenience options that you can add to your box. Like what? Keto cookies, pressed juices, smoothies. So don't let the shorter days slow you down. Stay energized. America's #1 ready-to-eat meal service is Factor. Head to factormeals.com/Cuomo50 and use the code Cuomo50 and you'll get 50% off your first box, 20% off your next month. That's code Cuomo50 at factormeals.com/Cuomo50, 50% off your first box, 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. Support for the Chris Cuomo Project comes from GetMainLobster.com. I got to tell you, it's the holidays. Nothing ups your game, nothing shows you care like surf and turf. And you cannot have surf and turf if you don't have the lobster in play. Now, look, I wanted it, they sent it, it was fresh, it was delicious, it was easy, okay? And look, let's be honest. You can get a lot of things a lot of places. When you're thinking lobster, here I am in New York, we have a robust lobster game, but it ain't Maine. Use the promo code Cuomo, C-U-O-M-O. You'll get 15% off all orders store-wide. That's right. 15% off to help you create those unforgettable holiday moments with joy and taste. So why wait? Treat yourself, treat your loved ones, get that taste of Maine in your mouth. Make new memories, celebrate the beauty of togetherness, getmainelobster.com. If you go to getmainelobster.com, don't forget to use the promo code Cuomo and you will get 15% off all orders store-wide.
So to kind of wrap this all up, these kind of go together, and then it's going to tee up something else I want to talk about. Mark 6406 wrote, I will check back in with you this time next year to see how your opinions landed. And also that they're not subscribed. And Peyton Fitt said, real talk, Chris, subscribed. And based on the icon, they're also not subscribed. I'm bringing this up because there's been so much talk about the way the media worked in this cycle and the way that Mr. Trump went on all these podcasts that were very targeted. They had very specific audiences and was very loose. You think the Theo Vaughn thing where he's like, listen to how cool cocaine is or whatever, like, or the description of like what it is to be on drugs or something. It's like these very casual settings. And you're someone who has a podcast that you control. You say whatever you want. You can put out whatever you want. You're on News Nation. So you have your feet in both ends of the media.
Right. And
having people say, hey, I'm subscribing. Can you speak to like the importance of this platform?
Yes.
Your platform and the current state of affairs?
The digital is where it's at. That's a meme. That's an exaggeration. The media has a unique characteristic, which is that it loves to attack itself in the way that no other industry does. It is peculiar. It's complicated. One of the reasons they do it is people in this business honestly believe that it's better for things to go bad for everybody and to attack each other all the time than it is to celebrate success or anything like that. It's a weird business when your competition is your critic base. But the idea that digital media decided this election is demonstrably false. It is a growing and interesting evolution of our culture of digital technology and of phone-based media exchange. More and more of us are getting to smaller screens. And then we'll see this swing in evolution where all of a sudden all screens will be one, right? Where there's no such thing as a television anymore, or even a smart TV, or a tablet, or a laptop, or a phone. They will not. That's why they keep trying to get you to call them smart devices or whatever you want to call them.
What are the Apple Vision Pro? Wouldn't that be a good way to watch the news?
It will all be the same.
3D.
And there will be, like if MSNBC had been created today, Microsoft and NBC.
A lot of people don't know that actually. That's the MS. It was like a joint venture back in the 90s, right?
And it was, hey, we're ready to move to the laptop of, and we weren't ready. We are now. Similarly, the hype of it was Joe Rogan. Look, Joe Rogan is not a thought leader. Joe Rogan is not a thought shaper. He is somebody who was an early adapter, who built reach that became a cult of not personality, a cult of reach. He gets amazing guests. He sits and somewhat passively has conversations, does not pretend he's smart enough to say, I don't know that much. That's his virtue. That space is going to be invaded by people who do know enough, who are smart, and who are talented in a way he is not. Now, I know you're going to get upset when I say that. I'm not anti-Joe Rogan, and I respect his success. But I'm telling you, people go on his show because they want the reach, not because he's some standard. He's not Charlie Rose. Nobody sees him that way. And digital media is largely ignored by the media. Now there's like a little reaction formation to that, and they're saying it's all about that. And just look at the money. Look at the reach. Joe Rogan gets 40 million views. David Muir, who you probably don't know, who is on World News Tonight, gets 8, 9, 10 million people a night. You don't even know who he is. Now, a lot of people don't know who Joe Rogan is, but for different reasons. 1 year from now, Joe Rogan's podcast, I don't believe will have the preeminence that it has today. Others will come in the space. People with money and real organizations and real strategies like Patrick Bet-David are going to continue to grow within the space because it is still a nascent space. And if you look, it's incredibly overweighted right. Why? Because the right has a lot more fringe thinking and is a lot more susceptible to groupthink. So we saw this with early adaptation of social media, the same way we're seeing it with digitized podcasts. Facebook is dominated by the right. Why? Because mainstream media is seen as breaking left. So if you want to be fed righty propaganda, you had to find it somewhere else because the mainstream media wasn't really peddling it. The righties were smart enough to say what they're peddling you is lefty propaganda. I've never really thought that was true. I think that the left, until the progressive movement and the radicalization of the Democratic Party and wokeism as an exaggerated set of intolerances, I think they had better arguments. And that the facts often came down on the side of where the media was, which was seen as center-left. Now, that has been demonized and weaponized, but only for profit. Fox News is not better than MSNBC. It's just different. It doesn't have the same level of journalists as NBC News does. It's not even close. You don't see people leave Fox and succeed anywhere else. Think about it. Megyn Kelly, okay? She was their biggest star, right? After O'Reilly. She tanked at NBC. She said stupid, obnoxious shit that only works in the digital space because you can have an audience of like-minded, intolerant people. But it didn't decide the election. Even that group of men, take a look. Take a look at how they voted. They didn't make a difference. I mean, look, I encourage their involvement. I respect the range. A lot of them resonate with me as independents, as free thinkers. There's a whole crisis with men in this country that we should address. Men have been marginalized and demoralized, and you can shake your head and say, that's some bullshit. I'm telling you how they feel, okay? Not all of them, but a lot of them. The numbers aren't great for them. The prospects aren't great for them. Society doesn't seem set up for them. And I'm telling you, that's how they feel. Go look at Professor Scott Galloway. He talks about this brilliantly. Pivot Podcast, just search Scott Galloway, a professor at NYU, brilliant. He is so right about this. Jordan Peterson, Joe Rogan, in a way. These people resonate. The Tate brothers, you know, as perverse as I find that interest. I'm not in the business of judging other human beings. I'm fucked up, flawed, flailing, and not just because it's alliterative. I got enough to deal with myself to have time to judge you. It's a cheap commodity, but it works. And why would they be drawn to these types of people? What does that tell you? And, you know, very often in our society, it's not about what's true and what isn't true. It's what you want to be aware of and how you want to deal with it. So, the digital space is real. I'm in it for a reason, okay? And I think it's really interesting that it's very rare to do what News Nation is doing, which is they allow me to operate independent of them. They don't own this podcast. They have zero ownership of it. They have zero interest in it, which is very unusual. Every other place that I was thinking of working would not let me have my own podcast. You got to do it through them. Why? Editorial fluency and not wanting to spread, to take risk on, keep the standards, but also because they know that it is an emerging space as a media commodity. But I'm telling you, the idea that the guys that you see as just a level of talent, you're going to have better talent enter the space. Instead of like Dave Smith, who's like a second, third tier comedian, you'll have Louis C.K. You'll have Sebastian Maniscalco. You'll have Stephen A. Smith. You'll have Kevin Hart. You'll have A-level talent that wants to enter the space and start owning these constituencies. You know, Benny Johnson, Ben Shapiro. This is not A-level talent. You'll see people who are like J.D. Vance. That level of talent will start entering the space. And you'll be like, I'm not there for talent. I'm there for raw and real. No, you're getting sold shit. Okay, they're selling you on ideas. There's persuasion going on. There's cult of personality going on. You're just going to get better personalities. You'll see. It's going to happen.
Well, speaking of personalities, as we wrap this up, we're going to hear from lots of personalities over the next several months as comments continue to flow in. There's so much to unpack with the end of this election. I always try to end this on a fun note. Kakawachi just wrote, 47 minutes of papaya. Do you know what that means with regards to this last episode? 47 minutes of papaya. They capitalized the P in papaya, the first P.
No.
I think the episode was 47 minutes.
What's papaya?
Well, there's papaya. There's the papaya hot dog places here in New York. I love Papaya King or Papaya Dog. You know, you get the...
Wasn't it called Gray's papaya?
Yeah, well, yeah, there's a Gray's papaya. There's Papaya King. But you get like the 2 hot dogs, all the stuff on there. You get the relish.
See, again,
I'm sorry, you get the
onions,
the relish. You get the stewed onions, the sauerkraut, and the spicy mustard. Yeah.
See, this is an interesting little example.
Thank you.
The idea that you're going to tell me about Gray's papaya.
You asked me what the papaya...
I was going to Gray's papaya when you didn't know where New York City was.
Yeah, but I was going to the Baldwin Cafe and I had the 2 Coney special out in Lake Orion, Michigan.
Yeah, and you know what? Calling it a Coney special when you're in Michigan is nonsense.
But I know what
because Coney Island
hot dog
is here.
Is.
Coney Island dog in Detroit.
Coney style.
Delicious.
Thank you.
Delicious. The place is here. I grew up going to Coney Island.
You know, I thought this is like a nation that welcomes immigrants and people moving around. I'm allowed to move to New York and enjoy a hot dog that's a different style.
But this is my beef. I am not angry.
All beef hot dog.
About the outcome of the election. Lies, by the way. I will never eat another hot dog, by the way. I ate the Coney Island dogs when I was in Detroit. But then I was online and I saw them making hot dogs for like the 50th time and it finally kicked in. I will never eat that shit.
Do you mean assembling a hot dog or like the cow being thrown into the meat grinder?
Cow, you wish.
The raccoon and the porcupine.
Stuff that makes the paste that makes our hot dogs.
Yeah, tire sealant.
I can't believe it's legal. I cannot believe it.
Because it's so good, it's addictive, it's delicious.
Soylent Green makes more sense. What's that? Google it.
It's an old movie.
Very famous. Soylent Green, it's made of people.
Was that Charlton Heston?
Yes.
Wow.
Anyway, look it up. I'll never eat it again. The point is, many of you are embracing and taking ownership of institutions and cultural dynamics as if you created them. You are a Democrat now, but that doesn't mean that you understand what being a Democrat has meant and should mean. So you think you get to tell me, because I don't support what you now support, that I'm anti-Democrats or I'm red-pilled. And all that reveals is your ignorance and your arrogance, which is one of the deadliest combinations in human behavior. You don't know and you think you do. And that's why one of the best graphs of data ever is the fuck around and find out axes. Have you ever seen that? Look it up. You guys are fucking around with ideas and division, and you're going to find out in a way that you don't like. And by the way, before you're like, I'm not going to, that's what just happened. You just found out. You fucked around with what it is supposed to be a Democrat. And you tried to make it a grievance movement against a real grievance movement. And you lost decisively, but most importantly, in a way that you are shocked. Nobody else is. Why are you shocked? And your media friends? Why wouldn't they call the election? Because they didn't want him to win. And that's not enough. You got to beat him, not just keep him from winning.
Well, this question was about papaya, and on
you don't know
Google
why he said it.
Well, on Google AI, it says papaya is a tropical fruit that is high in fiber and nutrients and has many health benefits. So maybe they're saying this is 47 minutes of nutrients that people are consuming. Just as
I think they meant of like poppycock.
Oh,
of like, bullshit.
Oh, papaya, like it's.
Although I don't think papaya should be, used as a euphemism for that. It's a very good fruit.
It's a great beverage. Papaya, the papaya king.
Gray, I think, was an Australian or something like that. And he came up with this concept of selling hot dogs and a health drink.
Delicious.
Talk about a paradox. But man, that's all I could afford. It used to be like $1.50. And, you know.
Actually, the last time I was there, the recession special was like $8 or $9. It's not the cheapest thing on the block, but it's a great thing to get if you're going to see a show at the Beacon Theater.
I would never, ever, ever eat a hot dog.
Wolf down 2 dogs on the way to see the National. It's a great pre-show snack.
As a point of nostalgia, I get it. I'm telling you, they are tube death.
As a point of nutrition, I'll take it. But as a point of tasty, I fully endorse. Chris doesn't endorse.
I
Greg fully
season
endorses.
your hand and fry it, you'll eat it.
I'm not that hungry.
Okay, you'll see. I've seen people eat worse. I've eaten worse.
Let's end this.
But hot dogs are no good.
Okay.
Why? And I'll end on this thought. Okay?
I think okay.
I'll end on this thought.
Great.
What we are living through
It's a hot dog.
is a hot dog. Our politics is a hot dog. It is a paste made of bad ingredients, okay, that is seasoned with what we know triggers the appetite. Sweeteners and savory makers, salt and sugar, that they make shit taste better. And that's what our politics has become. Tasty shit. And you got to realize it, and you got to make the difficult choice to improve your diet, to demand better, to not get sold on the sweet and savory of hate and division and fear and others and arrogance. You have to be better than that. And it's hard. It's easier to eat the fucking hot dog, but it's also going to make you fat and eventually kill you. And that's what's happening to our Commonwealth. We are becoming divided and weak, and that makes us vulnerable. God forbid the real menace of terror understands how weak we are and decides to go for it again. They will find us wanting for resolve and strength. I fear that. I don't want it. I want us to crush it because I'm aware of it, but I'm worried about it. And it's because we have been weaned onto a weenie diet when it comes to our politics. And I hope this election is a wake-up call, and you can bring your comments and your animus, and I'm here for it. Let it come. That's what Let's Get After It is about for me in my life. I want to help you change how you feel for yourself. Food for thought should be nutritious, not fucking hot dogs. Digital media is selling sausage. They're selling you sausage. They're calling it truth. They can call it whatever the fuck they want. You can call it a hot dog, a nutritious breakfast. Doesn't mean it is. Okay? Be aware. Caveat emptor. Buyer beware. One of the oldest expressions in our understanding of behavior. Be a critical thinker. Be an independent. Okay? And let's get after it. Thank you for subscribing and following. Thank you for giving me the comments. Even if I don't like to hear them, those are some of the best things to deal with. All right? I'll see you here. I'll see you on News Nation. Everybody's in promise mode. I promise you this. I have no agenda other than what I believe to be the interests of the many. And I go at it from a perspective of wanting to protect the rights and privileges and responsibilities of the few. I get it. We can do better. That's all I want to do is help us get to a better place. I don't give a shit what that means for me and my reach. Take care of yourselves. Take care of who you care about. And I'll see you here, and I'll see you on News Nation. Take care.